Hello everyone, welcome back to the RedVsRed podcast. You are here with TheSaffronMan and Sporadiclese. We're going to be talking about the latest match reaction to Manchester United versus Crystal Palace. Lots to go on over, lots of talking points to go through. First of all, I'd just like to say thanks for everyone hitting the sub and the follow buttons and hitting the likes. We've seen a really cool, some decent views over the last few videos, like 100 views a piece. So that's really cool for us, just starting out as a channel. So thanks for that. Please make sure you show your support. Help us grow. That'll be fantastic. But yeah, we're here with Sporadiclese. We're basically two Manchester United fans from across the world going head to head and just sharing our different opinions and thoughts of the club that we love, Manchester United. So Sporadiclese, we've literally just watched the first match. The match of the weekend for us against Crystal Palace. You literally made a prediction and you did a predicted lineup the day before as well. There's a couple of changes from that, so just kind of talk about. I've got the lineup here in front of me, the starting lineup with the subs that were made. I think you made a couple of changes. You had in, Casemiro instead of Eriksen. You had Rashford instead of Garnacho. I think there was one or two others that might have been slightly different. But what was your thoughts on the lineup that was presented to start against Crystal Palace?
I did not predict Casemiro. Absolutely not. I did not think he was going to start. I thought it was going to be Ugarte that had the start over Casemiro and Eriksen. And honestly, I was pleasantly surprised with. I was pleasantly surprised with the way that Eriksen performed today. So that was really great. I thought that Rashford was going to get the start over Alejandro Garnacho. But honestly, I saw a lot of good things on that left-hand side of the attack. So I liked to see Garnacho play. Rashford, I think that he could have had a good game here against Crystal Palace. But all things considered, good match from us in the first half predominantly. So I'd really like to dive into that. So if we can talk about the first half. I'm more than happy to go into it, and we'll see what happens in the second half of the match.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just think before we go into, I think the squad rotation is something that hasn't really been possible for Manchester United for a long time, and we've had to play whoever's fit or whoever's on form at the time, and we've had to risk injuries and everything going forward. And so I think us as fans, we kind of got used to seeing pretty much the same lineup week in, week out, bar one or two, because injuries are coming in or whatever. I saw this today, and I clapped. I thought that's good. Like we're actually showing a squad rotation. We're not having to play Marcus Rashford. We're not having to play Johnny Evans or that at the centre back. We're actually giving players minutes around the pitch. Eriksen, as you mentioned, has been deserving of minutes of late and been performing really well. Casemiro, on the other hand, not as much, so I could understand Eriksen being in instead of Casemiro. I understand Ugarte not starting because no one really only De Ligt has only just started to start. Xerxes has had a couple of starts. He's kind of bleeding in these new arrivals, which I think is really good to see. And the squad depth that we had on the bench, even though it didn't really make much difference today, the bench depth was really good, really strong options, and we really haven't had that for a while. And usually it's the youngsters on the bench. Come on, let's see if you can have a chance and take your moment. But I was really encouraged before the ball even got kicked in the first half of the lineup, purely because we had the ability to rotate some of these players, and that was just pleasing for me. I don't know what for you. What's your first opinion when seeing this lineup?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. This was a stronger starting 11 than it initially looks like on paper. Garnacho and Diallo starting on the wings, I thought really good choices. I thought that Rashford was going to have the start over Alejandro Garnacho today, just given the form that he's been in and the fact that he is a form-based player. You kind of expect that. Marcus Rashford, whenever he's in a form, you play Marcus Rashford, kind of period. And that's going to be something that we'll talk about later in the podcast. But I was almost a little confused at first. Not to say that Garnacho did not have have his moments, and very well he should have. He should have many more going forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play more. But I was kind of expecting Marcus Rashford, and so altogether a solid starting lineup. Christian Eriksen, I just talked about him the other day.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Had a lot of good. Yeah, I did. He had some good moments, and again, if you missed my apology, Christian Eriksen, you are not in fact bang on average. You had great moments the last few weeks, and today in particular too. There were some things going on that I was a little concerned about today with the 11 that we picked, but altogether a really good showing.
So I mean, kickoff happens, and straight within seconds there's a challenge on De Ligt, which I think, oh no, he's injured straight from the bat, but it looks like it was just a lace problem or whatever. But it was a sign of how the match was going to play out. It was off like a rocket. It started off really frenetic, and there were chances galore for us, especially in the first 14 minutes. I mean, I've got some notes here. Like, we had 9 shots on goal in the first 14 minutes, and we probably should have scored at least 5 of them. 2 of them were us hitting the woodwork, and the other 2 were kind of...
Wait. Nine in the first 14 minutes?
Yes. We had 9 shots in the first 14 minutes. 5 of them were on target.
On goal.
5 of them were on target,
okay.
saved by Dean Henderson.
Okay.
And the other 2 hit the woodwork, because Garnacho hit the woodwork, Bruno hit the woodwork from the follow-up.
Yes.
And then we had some shots that went wide. But yeah, in the first 14 minutes, we had so many chances and efforts on goal. We looked fast, we looked creative, we were doing 1-2 passing, we were linking up play. I think Garnacho's first effort, Xerxes dropped deep, and usually when I see strikers drop deep up, it's Harry Kane, is my experience. I'm like, oh God. But Garnacho and Diallo were smart, they saw him drop deep, so they pushed forward. So Xerxes dropped deep to receive the ball, saw Garnacho running, threaded him through, and it just opened up his body too much, and it was just a really great effort, good link-up play, but we just couldn't capitalize.
So I just want to say, what have I said that Xerxes is going to bring to the team this entire time?
I don't know. I forget what you say. You say so many things like Eriksen is bang average and stuff like that. It's hard to take into consideration what you say.
I said that Xerxes is going to drop in, and he's going to pull the center backs out of position, and that our wingers are going to be able to come in from the flanks into that dangerous area in the center of the pitch behind the defense that is now exposed. Yeah. And that is exactly what happened today. That was phenomenal. That was a yes. I mean, it was not just a one-off.
No.
But it was definitely one of those opportunities where you expect Garnacho, with the position that he's in, to score that goal. Unfortunately, it was in fact Dean Henderson that he had to go up against today, and so there are remnants of days gone by that are kind of affecting the Manchester United play here. But altogether, oh man, Xerxes really just brought everything that I thought he was going to. So,
but again, I mean, going back to 2 sides of the coin, how many shots did he have? Not many. I don't think he had one. Which is, for a striker, is not, when you're not scoring goals, you want your striker to have touches and have shots. And yes, we created a whole bunch, but we didn't score any of those goals. And he didn't have any shots on goal either. So that's my only question mark for that. But like you say, those link-up plays are exactly what we bought him for. But we need end results as a part of that. And one thing that I would like him to be stronger in, one area of the game, is our corners and set pieces. Because we looked very dangerous with our corners. I think we had 5 or 6 corners in the first 20 minutes. And we looked very dangerous.
Yes.
We've got target men, there's players there being movement. We're looking at... But Xerxes is a big guy. And he should be a threatening part of those corners as well, not just people like Delit and others coming through. So yeah, a definite room for improvement for Xerxes, but you can see his qualities, right?
I think that well, and you talk about room for development for Xerxes, but I mean, at what point do you bring that upon the coaches that are designing the set pieces, designing the set plays? There were obviously, as you said, multiple opportunities, and we had one person in particular that got on the end of those. But if you want to talk about Xerxes making an impact on those plays, how much of that is what he is naturally born to do and what his mentality is in terms of attacking those opportunities versus what is he being told from his coaching staff?
Right.
And so, in terms of what I've seen from him, he's had a great game. He really has. Dropping in, he did it multiple times to great effect, and he still found opportunities today. So I'm really looking forward to his development and his ability to break down defenses. This was a low block that we were playing against Crystal Palace, and so yeah, this is going to be another one of those games where he probably should have scored. But he was very involved in all of our build-up play and all of our opportunities. So I really think you have to give a shout-out to Xerxes today.
Yeah, another person I have to give a shout-out is your favourite midfielder, Eriksen. I mean, I think he just... I'm going to keep bearing on that. So we're going to have to... He just shows his quality, man. I mean, he put in another full 90 minutes today, and his passing was a joy to see. And what I noted down in the early parts of the match, he was just gliding in advanced positions. He was the top. If we were playing a diamond, he was playing at the top of the diamond. We weren't playing a diamond, but he was still in that position, just floating around, waiting to receive the ball. And he was linking up with absolutely everyone. And yeah, just so good to see. 3 weeks ago, people would have thought, "Oh, sell him to Turkey, sell him to a Turkish club. He's not a mainstay." But he's really put a stamp down and said, "Look, I'm still here, even if it's going to be for another 12 months." And he's really putting in some performances at the moment. And going back to the squad rotation, we need players like Eriksen to come in and out of the team to perform at a high standard that he is. And it's just unfortunate we got no goals out today. But just a gold star for Eriksen and the effort and the class that he's showing on the pitch as well. He's an example for the youngsters to look up to, even more so,
Yeah, I mean, he definitely set the example today. I think there were a lot of players that were heavily involved in our attacking moves, but none more so than Christian Eriksen. He had multiple opportunities where it's not necessarily the assist with the hockey assist, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
The assist to the assist, where he should have had, people getting in off of the balls that he played, and him playing the ball to Garnacho in effect was one of those opportunities. And so I really enjoyed watching him play today. He really didn't, there wasn't really a foot that he put wrong. I think that all things considered, he had probably potentially, if there would have been goals, that's a man of the match performance for him, because he was conducting the midfield, and that's not something that I feel like as a fan base expect out of people that are not our captain. And so he just had, there was almost a trouble for him to put a foot wrong. He made a lot of great decisions today, and I think that not only on offense but on defense as well, it was just a little bit different from him today. I mean, so in the first half in particular, I mean, my thing is I really want to talk about the first half, because that first half was something exceptional. There was energy, there was excitement. There was entertainment. Everybody was getting involved. Crystal Palace basically didn't have the ball that whole time. So what are your thoughts on the first half, and why is that so different from what we've seen from Manchester United in the past few games of the Premier League?
So I think the last few games, we talked about a couple of games ago that the next 6 games are really important. We've got games in the Premier League, you've got games in both cups and in Europe and everything else. So I think it was really important to start building that momentum. And I think the first half, the first 30 minutes especially, was a result of that momentum. And unfortunately, we just couldn't get a goal out of it. I mean, Dean Henderson, we all know about Dean Henderson. Probably a bit of an attitude problem, but never any doubts of his goalkeeping abilities. Had an absolute blinder today. He got to everything. He got down low. He got up high. He just had an outstanding performance. Kind of like David De Gea against Arsenal type thing. And no matter what we did, we just weren't going to get through Dean Henderson today. And that's a shame. But I think if we would have got a goal in that half an hour, whilst that momentum was continuing from our other games, I think we would have seen probably 3-4 goals against that performing Palace. We just never quite broke that deadlock. We never quite got through. We had a couple of clean-cut chances. We hit the post and the crossbar, and it was just really unfortunate. You can't say that we didn't give an effort in the first half. I think we were just really unlucky. Having said that, Palace probably should have got in at half-time 1-0 up. They had that chance right at the end. Eze, who you mentioned, is one of their key players. He had a golden opportunity and then ended up passing it to Onana, which I was very grateful for. But that was probably the best chance out of the first half, forwarding to Palace, despite our domination. And it was domination. But yeah, we just couldn't continue that momentum. And then it was, after half time, it was tough to get going again. There was a few chances here and there. But it was all about momentum. We couldn't break through, so therefore it was a challenge. I think just a mention to the fans as well. I mean, our fans, no matter home or away, were always singing. I heard the Park song in around the 38th minute, and I love that song. For those who don't know, I'll probably get banned if I say it. But it's a really fun song, and it was great to hear that. There was another moment as well where Kobe Mainoo had an effort, kind of like that Wolves chance where he was on the corner of the box. He kind of cut into the inside and he swerved it with it outside of his boot, and it went in, and we scored against Wolves. Same kind of moment happened this time, and he whacked it. Eriksen was just in front of him. He tried to duck out of the way. He hit Eriksen. Eriksen kind of went to the floor and he ended up laughing. But Mainoo was not happy with him. So Eriksen's like, what can I do? Something, this game. Mainoo was like having words. What are you doing? Get out of the way. Like, you shouldn't have been there. All that sort of stuff. So I thought that was funny. Eriksen thought he was hilarious. Mainoo, not so much. And I thought that interaction was pretty good. But yeah.
So you're talking about fans, but what impact do you think that the Crystal Palace fans had on the match? Because from what I saw, we had a dominant 30 minutes, but from everything that I heard, the Manchester United fans were being drowned out. Crystal Palace really had their team all day today, and I personally think that had a significant impact on the match. I mean, what do you think from what you heard?
So I'm just looking up Selhurst Park. Attendance, or what have they got here? Average attendance is about 25,000. So, I mean, we probably had 5,000 to 6,000 fans there, and I heard them sing. I heard them sing Park, Park. I heard them sing Attack, Attack, Attack. I heard our fans, despite, obviously, whenever you go to away ground, you're always going to be outnumbered. You're always going to be quietened out by the crowd because of those outnumbered. But we were still heard. And, I didn't really pay that much attention to the Palace crowd.
You're apparently not. You're apparently not from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the United States. Pittsburgh will, in fact, we will show up in numbers against the opposition, and you might question whether or not it's a home game.
Right, but there's the capacity, right? So Selhurst have only
Yes.
got 25,000. They've got a capacity amount that they can sell to the away fans. So whether it be 6,000 will fit in that one stand or
Yes.
that one area, and that's it. So it's not like everyone can turn up. Because if that was the case, it'll probably be 50-50 Manchester United fans all over the place. But yeah, there is that capacity. We were at the capacity and we were heard. We're always going to get drowned out. I didn't pay too much attention to the Palace atmosphere because I don't know why. When you're playing away, you're always going to have to deal with that. And when you go away to a Roma in the Champions League or something, or Juventus, or you go to Real Madrid or the Nou Camp, it's like you are severely outnumbered. You're barely going to hear your fans, but you have to deal with it because that's what those big nights are all about. But we were still heard today. As much as the Palace atmosphere might have got them into the game a little bit, I think they came into their own more in the second half. They had more clear-cut chances. That double save from Onana. Come on, talk to me about Onana and that double save. I know you want to. Off you go.
Oh man, that double that made me so happy, Saf.
Is that because just because of me?
We've had it's very much in part. I cannot say that is not entirely distinct from the conversation that you and I have had, but
let's give a bit of context.
Moment.
Let's get a bit of context. So previously we had a 4 against, and I said David De Gea over Onana because Onana he had those couple of games where he was standing on one side of the goal and someone shot and it went completely the other side, and it was just his positioning was out of whack. And I had a little go at both him and Sporadiclese during that Liverpool match. It just wasn't good positioning. And so, yeah, that's kind of where it comes from. I don't hold a grudge. I just think his positioning could be better. And, it is what it is, but his positioning was on point today. So he must have listened. He must be a viewer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. We had about 100 fans on our views for the last video that I personally put out. I don't want to necessarily call it out, but my videos tend to be a little bit higher on the view count, Saf. I don't know what's going on there.
I allowed you to post them on Fridays, right? That's fine. It's okay. He wants to watch content on a Tuesday.
But this particular moment, I mean, this is one of those saves that you have to make the initial, and there's also a follow-up. And a lot of keepers, a lot of goaltenders in today's game do not catch that follow-up. And this is one that I feel like Onana was on his toes. He was ready for. He looks the part of an actual shot stopper, right? I think that's one of the things that we've been kind of lacking a little bit since since the good old days of Fergie. And David De Gea has had his moments, but he's also had his howlers. Mm-hmm. And today there were no howlers from Onana. If Onana had howlers today, we would have lost this match. And so this is definitely an Onana kind of making the difference game or opportunity for us. He needed to show up, because if we're not converting off of the opportunities that we had, we needed Onana to show up big, and he did so today.
Yeah, I think that I'm trying to think of other double saves that were kind of like that. Schmeichel had one or two growing up, and Schmeichel was my kind of role model when I was younger, so that's kind of bright in memory. And one of the things that Schmeichel used to do was just
are you a goalkeeper, Saf?
Yeah, used to be, yeah. So that's why I could give these points to Onana.
This is news to me. I did not think you were a goalkeeper.
Yeah, so yeah, I did coaching badges for goalkeeping as well. So yeah, it's kind of part of history. So this is why I'm talking about Onana. but
this makes so much sense now.
Yeah, so ever since I was a youngster, I was just brave with the ball, but Schmeichel made himself big, right? And that's what Onana did today. He made that first initial save, was low down into the corner. So yeah, some goalkeepers they prefer to dive one way or the other. They prefer to dive to the top right or the bottom right, but going down to the bottom left is a little trickier. I think Onana prefers the right hand side, which makes this save that he done here down low to his left even more important. It was a strong left hand as well that not only pushed the ball away, but it pushed the ball high to give him that time to be able to get back up and make himself big. And that's exactly what he did. Low down, strong hand, enough on the ball to put the ball up in the air so it's not along the ground, to give him more microseconds to make himself big. And he did that. He just jumped up from the floor, made himself big. His trailing hands got a quick clip on the ball, and it was just a fantastic double save, and that probably earned us the point, quite frankly. And that's probably the best bit of goalkeeping I've seen from Onana. And that's not because it was a pass, it was a long ball, it was a terrific shot-stopping save, both of them. That's what goalkeepers are for. Anything else is a bonus, but if you can't do what Onana did there, then you shouldn't be in goal in the first place. And I honestly didn't know Onana had that in him. It's taken that moment for us to see, because I've still got those visions of Liverpool in my mind where his positioning was not great, but he's shown that he can do that. So, yeah, fantastic match for Onana today. If that doesn't build confidence in him, I don't know what will. But yeah, what position did you play back in the day, Sporadiclese? Interested now, since we're sharing everything.
So yeah. I mean, I was a bit of a utility player, but primarily I played left back and center defensive mid.
Okay.
So I empathize with Ugarte a little bit. I was basically the guy that stopped play from happening in our third of the pitch, and facilitates going forward. And but that's not to say that I've not played in midfield or in an up top position. There are various opportunities for individual players that you kind of have to take game by game. And I think that I was one of those players that game by game I could be utilized a little bit differently. So if I had to pick a particular position, it would be utility, because I can pick up anywhere. And fun fact, whenever I went to the camps at the best universities in my area, I even picked up goalie a little bit. So I'm not entirely unfamiliar.
So you agree with me with Onana? You agree with me in his position? Is that what you're saying? You agree? We're on the same side. I like that. Good stuff.
Yeah. Yes. But today was one of those moments where you really need somebody to come up big and be aware and enforce their will upon the game. And I think in that moment that Onana had, he very much enforced his will upon the game, which is something that you need from your goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And we got that today, and I'm very much hoping that we see that again going forward, because I think this kind of bleeds over from last weekend. I mean, what do you think? He saved that penalty kick against Southampton, and that was kind of almost the last big play that he had. But this, I mean, did the confidence from that bleed into this game?
Go back to 12 months ago, we had the same thing. It was a good start, and then as soon as the pressure started building in Europe, that's when mistakes started to happen. I think same sort of thing here. He's had a good start, but the pressure is going to build. It's not going to get any easier from here on in. It's going to get tougher. Pressure's going to get bigger. And we have Europe to come out. And we're expected to do well in Europe because we've spent big and we're hoping to go far. So yeah, there is pressure.
Absolutely.
There is pressure going to be on him. So we'll judge him then. It's a great highlight reel double save today. He saved a penalty and kept us in it the other week. He's had a good start. Let's keep it going. Can we have full 12 months of this? And then I'll be like, yes, he's our goalkeeper. But if it gets towards Europe and it turns out that we've got Jason Statham's the Monk in goal, then it turns out that's not going to be great for us, and I'll go back to say bring back DDG. But good start. I want him to do well. Let's see how he goes in Europe this year, huh?
Yeah,
absolutely. Going back to the match real quick.
There's so many goalposts. Yeah.
Sorry, go on, carry on.
I was going to say there's so many goalposts.
Yeah.
There's so many goalposts that he has to be about, right? He has so many opportunities for himself, and he's got to be there at each and every single one, because that is the expectation, right? Mm-hmm. Especially as a goalkeeper at Manchester United, you have to be up for each and every challenge. And today showed me that at least he has the psyche to do so. He just needs the consistency. We have seen a couple of missed opportunities from him, but if he plays like he did today, because there really were not a whole lot of opportunities, but when he was called upon, he was there. And I think that's really the difference maker, is if you're constantly having to provide support to your defense to make those saves, that's one thing. But whenever you're used as a bit part player almost, because your defense is doing well enough, they're keeping the ball out of the box, and you don't have to do a whole lot, to be in that position where your defense is doing well, which I think they did fairly well today.
Yep.
And then have to come up with a big save or a big double save, that's big, and that's really what's going to determine whether or not you're going to have success at a club of Manchester United's level. And so that gives me confidence. I'm excited to see him continue playing, and I think that he'll be able to continue doing as well as he has. And I think we're only going up from here.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking one game though, and he is walking a slightly different game. Like he was saying at the start of the season, I want to take risks. We're going to be doing this and that. You barely knew anything of me on the first season. I'm going to cut out my shell this season, and I haven't really seen any of that. But I have seen improvement in his shot stopping. He has world class attributes, but he needs to put all of that together in order to become world class. He's got probably 5 years in order to become world class at Manchester United, and he could potentially do it in 2. Whether he does that or not, he's on the road to greatness. It's all down to him now to see if he can make that happen. But yeah, Onana really did well. Unfortunately, he was probably the second best goalkeeper on the pitch, but he probably pulled off the best save of the match. But those two goalkeepers really did well. One thing I caught in the second half, Sporadiclese, I kind of want your thoughts on, was the Martinez 2-footed tackle. Now, as soon as I saw that, no. I was like, what are you doing? Like, that's...
I personally was reaching for my back pocket.
Yeah,
I was very confused. I'm as a former ref, I'm over here searching my butt for the card that gets you off the pitch.
Yeah.
That was heavy. That's and there was just blatant disregard for the other player.
Yeah.
You do not go 2-footed into any challenge ever. And so, and this is also, mind you, this is in the offensive third. Like you do not need to make this challenge. What is the thought process? Honestly, whenever I saw that challenge back again, it just reinforced what I saw the first time. Like as it was happening was, this basically, if there's any contact, that's a red card. That's a red card.
I think there was a little bit of contact. It was like a 2-footed stamp right by his ankle or toe. I don't think it made huge contact, but it was freaking close enough. And look, if anyone else done that to us, we're calling for a red card all day long. And even with VAR introduced in the game, tackles like that aren't getting dealt with. Now, I don't want Martinez to get sent off, and he probably Probably should have had a second yellow card for another tackle he did on the pitch later on in the game. Ultimately, he's very lucky to be on the pitch. I don't want to see tackles like that on us, against us. That was a really bad action. It wasn't necessarily a tackle because he wasn't making. He tried to stamp in the direction where the ball. It was an action. Oh god, it's a real fine line. I'm grateful that the referee didn't send him off, but I think there's going to be a few words with the Referees Association that those are the sort of challenges that they're trying to stamp out on, pun intended. So I think they should really be careful of that going forward and make a mental note. He shouldn't have been on the pitch, is my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Those are the type of challenges that whenever you see come up against players on your team and you see somebody coming in like that, you say, that is a dangerous tackle. That is not healthy for the game. That's not healthy for the players. There's nothing good about that tackle.
Right.
The only thing that was good about that tackle was that he did not make significant contact with the other player. But I mean, even a slight touch of the other player, and that's a red card. Absolutely, that's a red card.
People have been sent off before for not necessarily making contact, but by having dangerous intent. And I think that action that Martinez done, it was a two-footed stamp with intent. You don't stamp anyone or anything without intent. And so he done a double-footed stamp. So I think the intent was there. Maybe not to do damage, but I don't know. If it's a grey area for refs, they need to look into that. Because, I don't want any player in Europe doing that to us.
Yeah, as a former defender, I will say there is absolutely no room in football for that attempt. There just is not. Look, there's such a thing as mistiming your tackle. There is such a thing as coming in a little bit high. There is no such thing as I'm going to lift both of my feet off the ground and attempt to make this tackle, and that being a non-red card offense. If you are leaping off of your feet, which granted it's not like he jumped, right? He did not jump physically and then bring his feet down, but you put one foot in right after the other.
It may not have been a full jump, but there was a bit of a spring there. There was a bit of a spring.
Coming above the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, altogether with the tackle that I saw and what he came away with, he was lucky. He was very lucky. That absolutely should have been a red card, and that would have put us in a very awkward position, all things considered. So, Lissandro Martinez, if you're listening to this, don't do that again. Do not do that. It's not worth it. You were in the offensive third. Stop it.
You literally just jumped out of my fourth screen. It was rather strange, but nice one. But yeah, don't do that, Martinez. That was crazy.
Don't care. Don't care. Do not do that.
Okay, so to finish off on the roundup of the match, obviously it ended up 0-0. No one was able to take their chances. Remember, Palace got the double over us last season, and on this result at Palace last season, they beat us 4-0. So that we had a point to prove. I think we started off really well, but I think overall, all things considered, with the red card, the missed opportunities, the saves, I think 0-0 is a fair result, ultimately. Would you agree?
I mean, it's
harsh we didn't score.
No,
but I'm grateful we didn't lose, because we had plenty of chances to lose.
Well, yeah. If we would have lost, that's the point where I question the result, because we had at least two opportunities in the first half. I think we had another opportunity in the second half for a third if we would have scored the first two. That's not to say that Crystal Palace did not, in fact, have their opportunities, because they did. But they were exactly as I predicted in my build-up. I thought that they were going to play a low block. They did. I predicted that they were going to counter us while we were out of position. They tried. Dallo, I felt like, made good runs into the middle of the park, not just making his way around the outside of Garnacho, but being present in the midfield in general. And so, honestly, I think that 2-1 would have been a good result for us, and a very well-deserved result. So 0-0, I look at that result and I say, there's missed opportunity there, for sure. I think that we should have won that match. Absolutely, hands down.
I am with. We should, but there are more positive signs. Again, just go back 6 weeks ago during pre-season or something, and like, it's good to see the positive vibes. We've still got a new squad. We're still looking for ways to score goals. I mean, we should have had a fair few in that first half, but we are looking dangerous.
Yes.
And there are positive signs there. I would rather take a point away from home than no points. So yeah, I'm happy with this. I think there's still positive signs to look forward to. No one really had a bad game. Well, one or two maybe, which we'll get into in a little bit. But all right, let's kind of start off with one of the people that we wanted to talk to individually, and that is Alejandro Garnacho. So you didn't have Garnacho as starting this game, but you can understand why he probably did. We've mentioned the rotation. He had a man-of-match performance against Barnsley midweek. He got a couple of goals. He got a couple of assists. He looked dangerous throughout. And he didn't really have a bad game today. Just so unlucky. Just the thickness of the paint on the post that stopped him from scoring today. But he just looks lively every time he gets on the pitch, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely a player that needs to play week in, week out. I thought that Rashford was going to get the nod ahead of him. But at the same time, I'm not mad that Rashford did not, in fact, get the nod, because this is somebody that has been nipping at the heels of Marcus Rashford all season long so far.
For a few years now,
whether it be in the Premier League, whether it be in the Premier League or in the Carabao Cup, or you name it. I think that he has been somebody that looks like he wants to bring the energy to our offense and is willing and ready to run. And that in and of itself, I think really justifies his inclusion today. And he, out of his prowess in front of goal, really showed that he probably should be. Yes, he didn't score, but he had a couple of opportunities, and they were good opportunities. And I don't fault him for not making those, making the most of those opportunities, because I thought that he probably should have scored at least one goal today. It really was a matter of, you have a goalkeeper on the opposite end of the pitch that really makes your life miserable at times. And, against almost any other team in the Premier League, he scores 2 goals today, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. So I've kind of got this theory at the moment. Some people would have thought Rashford would have started, and that's fine. But we've got 3 really good, promising wingers at the moment in terms of Ahmad, obviously, Marcus, and Garnacho. And he rotated Rashford today. I'm pretty sure, out of all of our wingers, Garnacho's the only one that can play both wings accordingly. Yes, Rashford can go onto the right, but he really doesn't want to. He wants to stay on the left. Ahmad really enjoys it on the right, doesn't really want to go to the left. Garnacho will go either side. So I think it was just Marcus's turn to take a rotation this time. Next time we see Garnacho, he could potentially be on the right-hand side with Ahmad getting a break. So you see Garnacho and Rashford out on the wings. And then next time you'll see, it'll be just Ahmad, and so those 3 are going to be rotating, and Garnacho is the one swapping between wings, giving them a break, which I think is vital. I think it's going to work out well in the long run. But he's had a really good week, Garnacho. People have been doubting that when he starts games, and he didn't get the end product today, but man, he is just a world beater, and he's got the world at his feet. he carries himself accordingly. He kind of he doesn't. I wish he was a bit more mouthier on the pitch. Like, I wish he would get on the nerves of the defenders or the fullbacks. Like, kind of like a Rooney or Ronaldo used to do, right? Like, if he has that in him, if he was to be a real master of the dark arts, I think that's a great talent.
As a defender, I don't wish that on anybody, but man, yes.
But you can see the benefits of that happening,
so annoying,
right?
The chirping. Oh God, I hate it. I hate it whenever somebody has confidence and they're willing to tell you just how confident that they are. And so, yes, absolutely, he needs to be somebody that is going in and saying, "Look, I'm going to beat you, and this is how I'm going to beat you," and then do that. And it just completely and totally destroys the defender in terms of their ability to keep up with you. It's basically Larry Bird syndrome.
Yeah.
If you follow American basketball at all, and albeit a little bit earlier days of American basketball, but it's just like, I'm going to tell you exactly how I'm going to beat you, and then I do that. And then you at that point you just have no more response.
Yeah.
You have an inability to effectively deal with me. And I think that Alejandro Garnacho is one of those players that can really come in and bring that type of energy, that type of absolute, I'm going to destroy you and this is how.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so looking forward to seeing him develop as a player, because he's going to be on our team, and I think that he's going to be there long term. If I thought for a minute that in 4 years he was going to be on another team, I might be a little bit more hesitant to sing his praises. but I'm so glad he's going to be with us, and I have confidence in saying that. If Manchester United offloads Alejandro Garnacho in the next 4 years, I will lose complete and total faith in the executive structure.
Hypothetical here, Sporadiclese. We sold Ronaldo to Real Madrid for 80 million, right? Garnacho idolizes Ronaldo. What if Madrid come in with, say, 160 million, twice the price of Ronaldo? It won't be up to us. It's going to be down to Garnacho. And much like Ronaldo, his head was swayed. Like, we begged and pleaded him for stay for another year, and we got one more year out of him, and then we sold him for, like, if Garnacho really wants to go in the footsteps of Ronaldo, if things aren't progressing, like, if we don't build the new stadium, if we don't get in the Champions League and start winning silverware, if we don't get the progression as a club that he's been promised, Real Madrid could come in with like 160 mil and say, we'll take him. And he might go, yeah, all right, I'll give it a try. Like, it is like one of the few bigger clubs out there. So I don't know. I would love to say that he's going to be with us for the rest of his career, but I've been and seen too much in order to see that. Like, I've seen Gabriel Heinze leave over not being able to go to Liverpool. I've seen Tevez go to Manchester City. I've seen Michael Owen play for Manchester United and score against Manchester City. Like, I've seen some crazier things. So I would love for him to be with us, like a one-clubber, like Ryan Giggs, and show the example. But man, if he progresses the way that we want him to, I can't see other clubs not being interested. But that's neither here nor there. Point is, he's one of our star players, and I think he's just got a fantastic season ahead of him. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. This is very much going to be a true breakout season for him. I can very much see him, if Marcus is not on his game, then like displacing Marcus Rashford for the long term this season. And so Marcus is really going to have to redefine himself and find that vein of form that he had a couple of years ago. And without that, this is the guy. This is the guy that's going to, be able to support our offense in the way that we really need. We really need to see, a lot of the goals and assists coming. And so I don't know. I struggle to look at the rest of our lineup and say this is not going to be an integral part of our offense going forward. Yeah. I think the only other person that I would rate kind of in that general vicinity thus far And this is going to catch a lot of flack, but it's going to be Joshua Zirkzee. Hoyland, I love the ability to just come in and make a shot and iron out an opportunity for himself. But I think we saw a lot today out of Joshua Zirkzee that tells you that he is ready and willing to incorporate other players in the offense and have that capacity to really bring other players into the fold. And I think that those are going to be two of our best offensive units in this season going forward.
Yeah, I agree. Another good game from Garnacho. Let us know what you guys think down below of Garnacho's. What would you give him out of 10? Was he your man of the match? I was saying personally, my man of the match was Dean Henderson, but that's just it was just so fantastic throughout. But Garnacho, such a promising season ahead. The next person we kind of want to talk about is Matthijs de Ligt. I mentioned last week and the week before, he just looks like an absolute warrior. From the first few seconds of the game, he was our target man for set pieces and corners. He's tall, he's physical, he's fast, he's dangerous, he's a leader. He's got to be our future captain. He is just not putting a foot wrong. I have no idea why Bayern Munich have sold this guy. We tried to get him when he was at Ajax at 17. We tried again to get him when he was at Juventus. And then we finally got him as at Bayern. And I think this is his home now. I think he's not going to go anywhere else. We're going to have him for the rest of his career. Because he is just... Yeah, I'm not as afraid of bigger clubs coming in for De Ligt as I am for Garnacho. I think we've got De Ligt. We're going to have the best of De Ligt, and he is going to be phenomenal. He is athletic and powerful at the same time, and I don't know. I think he would give Rio a run for his money. He's just calm, confident, energetic, like freedom. Like he's just got that energy about him. He's just. He's great. I can't say enough about him. I would go to war with that guy. And I would want to be going to war with that guy. Like, he's just so good.
Oh, man. Oh, absolutely. But man, Rio Ferdinand, do you really have to pick probably the top number one defender of Manchester United in the past,
thinking of pairings, you go for Bruce and Pallister. We've got Rio and Vidic, obviously. I mean, one of my favourite partnerships, non-Manchester United, was Frank Leboeuf and Marcel Desailly for Chelsea. Mate, those French, they would, and also in France, they were amazing. And De Ligt reminds me a bit like of Frank Leboeuf. I think Martinez is a bit more like Desailly because he's not by height, but he's the strong, silent type. You won't hear a lot coming out of Martinez, but De Ligt is the Frank Leboeuf, the one barking all the orders, getting everyone organised in their shapes. And yeah, you've got the quiet type in Martinez, you've got the loud and proud in De Ligt, and I just think it's a perfect match in heaven. I think they're going to do really well. And we've got Lenny Euro to come involved in this as well, which could take things up to another level. But having De Ligt in now is perfect for someone like Euro to look up to over the next 12, 14 months or so, whilst he's getting used to the club. He is just a fantastic leader and role model. An utmost professional. He's gone through his injuries, but man, I'm excited for De Ligt. And it's been a while since a defender got me excited in the way... Martinez is great, but De Ligt could be something else. And together, just give them 12 months of gelling together, we could have a formidable defensive back line going forward for the years to come, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely, because they're not entirely unfamiliar with each other. Right. You know, they have previous history together, and De Ligt is just a complete and total complement to the skill set that Lisandro Martinez brings. And so it's going to be great to see their relationship flourish. And, you also mentioned Lenny Euro. I think that Lenny Euro is going to demand, not just deserve, but demand minutes. But he's going to have somebody to look up to say, this is the type of play style that I need to live up to. This is the type of character that I need to live up to. And I don't think that, outside of De Ligt, and the person he's potentially going to replace in the lineup, that there's really a comparable person to kind of look after. Whenever Kobe Mainu got injured, and early last season or preseason, leading up to it, and the expectation was probably to loan him out. Whenever he got injured, it was like, who's he going to learn from? And I think that Casemiro was kind of the one to do so. And so you kind of almost have to have that understudy mentality, and but in terms of just having the mentality of an understudy, but you also have to have the player in place to learn from. And I think that's where this is going to kind of difference, is that Lenny Yoro is going to have a very good positive role model to learn from in terms of De Ligt. And Casemiro was kind of hit and miss at times, but Kobe Mainu is no less the player because of that. And I think that he's shown a lot in the opportunities that he's been given, and that he's going to continue to do so. But I think that De Ligt is really just going to be one of those solid rocks on our defensive roster that we can depend on, that our future youth, or our current youth, can learn from, in terms of what should you be doing, what shouldn't you be doing, where do you need to be, to ensure that you're staying in position, and being on the offense, on defense, because I think that's kind of the style that Erik ten Hag wants to play, is how do I be as offensively minded as possible while still being on the back foot and being on defense. And today was a great example of what that can be. There was a lot of good pressing today, and De Ligt, he was really taking his opportunities in terms of set pieces, and just like all around. I felt like this is a guy that could have very well been man of the match. I mean, what do you think, Saf? Do you think that that he was very much a candidate for that honor for the Red Devils?
What, for today's match against Palace? I mean,
yeah.
I think Dean Henderson unfortunately took all the limelight from everyone. I think his performance for Palace outshone everyone else.
I'm not talking about Palace. Just for United.
I'm not sure. I just love his enthusiasm and body language when he goes into a tackle. Like he thrives off the war aspect, the contact, the adrenaline. He's a bit like an adrenaline junkie, and I'm sure he could be like a real quiet giant off the pitch, but as soon as that pitch starts, the whistle blows, there's something in his mind that switches, and I love that. I think that's very appealing as a viewer, as a fan, to see someone as combative in that role. Was he our man of the match today? I would probably say Garnacho would edge it, but then no one really outperformed anyone else because we didn't really get the win. I mean, Mazraoui had another good, solid 7 out of 10 game. Was it enough to be? I think we had a bunch of 7s out of 10s today. I don't think anyone really got an 8. So it's going to be tough. I think no one really stood out enough for us to be classed as a man of the match, but he's definitely got the qualities and traits that we can use going forward. And he's got many of the traits that we're going to talk to on our next person, is Bruno Fernandes. He's just, he's obviously vocal, he's physical, he's talented, he communicates, he generalises, he orders about. But for Bruno, the last few games haven't been amazing for him. Like, he's been a couple of games, he's allowed to have an off game because this is Bruno Fernandes. As long as he has an off game and others around him score, then yeah, I think that's a good sign. But he's had a quiet game today, and the others around him haven't done things, so I think that makes him look a little bit worse. But I don't know what's going on with Bruno. The first couple of games, you can see, yeah, he's a bad game, that's fine, but his passing isn't as accurate. It isn't as the pace isn't quite there. His vision isn't quite there. People aren't. I don't know. His shooting wasn't there today. He had 2 or 3 opportunities for a shot today, and they went wide. things just aren't clicking with Bruno at the moment. And again, when others around him are picking up the pieces, that's fine. But when they're not happening, he is our captain. We look to our captain to try and get something out of the team. But it's not clicking for him at the moment. What's your thoughts on Bruno?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at so many passages of play today and said, it seemed like the missing link was a Bruno Fernandes. So when he's receiving the ball, he's not looking like himself. Whenever he's playing the ball, he's not looking like himself. Whenever he's taking shots, he just wasn't looking like himself. So today really was almost an anomaly. He didn't start against Barnsley obviously on Tuesday, but it just looked like he was a little bit slow on the pickup. The way that he was trying to hold up the ball. I love his hold-up play a lot of the time and his ability to incorporate other players into the mix, but today was just not one of those days where he could hold up the ball and engage other players and be positive and on the front foot. I was just a little confused by, the things that he was doing in so many of our built-up opportunities. And, I normally you see him pick out the pass that leads to a goal, or his ability to distribute the ball while under pressure, to engage those wingers, because Xerxes, who honestly I thought had a really great game today. Xerxes, he's dropping in and offering opportunities to our wingers to cut in, and Bruno just wasn't really there, wasn't finding those opportunities, and lost the ball a couple of times. So I was a little confused. I think my issue is that I expect a lot out of him as our captain, and today was just not the day that he led from the front foot. And so I obviously don't peg him to be a player that is going to have an extended period of time where he is not on the front foot and providing opportunities for our offense and barking orders, everything. But just today was not it, especially in the second half. The second half, and it looked entirely different from the first half. If I'm honest, I think we had somewhere close to 75% possession in the first half, and I think that Fernandes played a fairly good part in that. But the second half, just it seemed like we fell off, and it seemed like the place in particular where we fell off was the ability to link up from our midfield into our offensive assets. And Bruno really is that cog in the wheel that provides us those opportunities, and he just kind of went missing in the second half.
Yeah,
would you agree?
Yeah, that first half again was the momentum built from the previous games, and we had a really good first 30 minutes, and obviously we didn't make that breakthrough, and it's just, I think that put the whole team, that knocked the whole team back a little bit, including Bruno. But the class is always there from Bruno. Some of the deliveries he was putting in, like whipping in from outside the box, were really smart deliveries. It just wasn't towards anyone that was there. Like, it's like he's one step ahead of everyone else still. Like, they're not quite seeing what he sees. But when it gets down to him shooting, he has to do better from that. Yeah, we have an expectation for Bruno, but our expectation for Bruno Fernandes, our captain, isn't half as much as his own expectations for himself. He expects and demands more from himself than what anyone else can, and we'll get the better out of him. It's just, the last 2 or 3 games hasn't been going well for him on a personal level. I mean, nowhere near Casemiro standards, put it that way. I mean, he's still doing bits, but it just hasn't quite ticked along for him nicely, which is a shame. But we do have a lot of games coming up from now till Christmas, so I'm sure he's going to forget all about this game, and he's going to move right on to the next one, and if he has a bad game next time, he'll forget that one too, and he'll move on to the next one. It's just how he's built. Yeah, we all want to see him doing well. It's just not going great for him at the moment. But yeah, I still think he'll find a way. He's gonna be our leader when needed for sure.
Absolutely.
On to the next game, I would say. All right. So yeah, let us know what you guys think down below of the match reaction. Should we have won? Are you happy with the draw? Could you see us have lost that 12 months ago? Let us know what you think down below. We're going to move on to something called For or Against now. Me and Sporadiclese, we come up with some questions or statements based around Manchester United, and we take it in turns each week of providing the for and against opinions of those statements. I think I'm against this week. You're going to be for, Sporadiclese. So yeah, we've got one, for example. Oh, let me get rid of the image there. There we go. So our first question for this week is going to be Ten Hag put out the right starting 11, and we've got a couple more. And after each statement, I was showing you both sides of the coin. We'll decide if it's for or against. Ultimately, when we go live, when we've got a bit more of a community, we want you guys to be having the decision of for or against. Until then, it's just a bit of banter with me and Sporadiclese, and we hope that you enjoy it. So I'm ready for or against Sporadiclese. I'm dying to get a clean sweep. Are you ready?
You're not gonna get it, especially today. So let's dive right into it.
Okay, I'm feeling lucky. Let's do it.
You're not though.
No, I'm not ready. Why did that happen? Why did that not happen? Has that changed? All right, here we go. For or against? Hello and welcome back to Manchester United's Red vs Red channel. We're going to be talking all about the things Manchester United, and this is for or against, where we have two sides of the same coin, and hopefully you guys can make your own decision on these statements, and we can kind of go from there. And Sporadiclese is here with me. Sporadiclese, you are going to be for this week. I have the first question for you. It is Ten Hag put out the right starting 11 against Crystal Palace. So go ahead and give your piece.
Yeah, I mean, you look at everybody that played today, and you look at their recent form, and how do you not start this 11? At left back, Dalot, obviously. I think that there's not really another option at left back currently, and if you're playing him at left back, you got to play Mazraoui. Martinez is a shoe-in for left center back. De Ligt, you can't say enough good things about the guy, and especially after the performance that he had today. Kobbie Mainoo, fantastic start for him. I think if you're really looking at options for other players to play in the spots that they were playing in, you would look at Christian Eriksen, who today had a phenomenal game. I really think that it would have been very different if we would have played Ugarte, but Eriksen, coming off of a phenomenal performance against Barnsley, you kind of got to play that. 2 goals and an assist. He's in form. He's not had a lot of opportunities, and this was, he took the one opportunity that he really had. On left wing, you had Garnacho playing against, playing a spot that Rashford could have been perceived as the shoe-in for that opportunity, but realistically, Garnacho has as many goals in fewer opportunities or fewer performances as Marcus Rashford this season already. And so you kind of got to play Alejandro Garnacho. So all in all, I think that he really chose the best 11 that was available to him. The only real pivot point could potentially be Ugarte, but against an opponent of the level of Crystal Palace, where you really just need somebody to link up play, I think that Christian Eriksen really served that role. And Ugarte would have been just surplus to requirements, but Christian Eriksen really just brought another level to his game that Ugarte just wouldn't have brought. So so many opportunities were there for Manchester United, and they were a direct result of Christian Eriksen being played. and Alejandro Garnacho bringing the energy. And so, in my opinion, this was certainly the starting 11 that you want to bring against a team like Crystal Palace.
Fair enough. I think the point really was there's been lots. I mean, there's been talk about Ten Hag. Pretty much, he wins, people want him to go. He loses, people want him to go. Like, I think it was more emphasised on Ten Hag's decision to put out that team, and because I'm sure there are going to be questions over that selection. Rashford didn't start, Ugarte didn't start, but really, I don't think it was the right. As much as I agree, and remember, this isn't our opinion. This is we're both trying to play both sides here, for and against. So I'm mostly doing against now. And look, we didn't get the result. Right? So it can't be the right 11 if we didn't get the result. Yes, the players did put in the performance. They should have got their goals, but it didn't really happen, did it? So if we're coming away from the game without the win, surely the first 11 could have improved. If you're saying, I would rather have had Rashford up top, maybe, instead of Xerxes, even though Xerxes created loads. Maybe Rashford would have been on the end of one of those to actually be clinical enough to actually finish one of those chances that was created. I don't know. Maybe Ugarte would have been a bit more dynamic in the midfield. I don't know. But look, we're coming away from the result. We haven't won. Questions do have to be asked. I agree with the squad rotation because it's a long season. We've got lots of games coming. But look, we didn't get the result. We didn't win. If Garnacho would have put that into the top corner, we won 1-0 or something, or if Onana didn't make that amazing double save when we lost 1-0, then questions would be asked about Ten Hag and his opening 11. So yeah, that's my big thing. We didn't get the result as well as we played, as we shoulda, woulda, coulda. I think there are questions there to be asked from the casual fan, personally. But then,
no, I mean, if you start Rashford over Garnacho, there's not really an argument to be made that there would have been anything better, because you saw him get subbed on and really not make a huge impact on the game. Whereas, Garnacho, he had multiple opportunities, and they were good opportunities. So, the finishing wasn't quite there, but Marcus Rashford only, scoring against Barnsley and Southampton since March of last year. Let's be honest, that's not really a great record. And so Garnacho should be getting the start. He had the opportunities. Yes, he didn't quite make them, but they were good opportunities. I don't think that Marcus Rashford inherently is just going to score those opportunities.
No.
I
wasn't on about Garnacho.
We didn't necessarily.
So Garnacho was fine. I would say Xerxes could have probably been a sub. So I would have started Rashford up top like he did against Barnsley, and so we still have. No. I know we wouldn't have created the same chance again. Hypothetical. No. This is for or against, right? So it's not my personal thoughts.
Sure.
I'm just saying
it can be for or against, but you can still be wrong.
Yeah, absolutely, but I'm not in this case. But I mean, again, how many shots did Xerxes have?
No, you are.
Xerxes didn't have any shots, and we didn't convert any of the chances that Xerxes created. So I'm just saying.
How many shots do United have with Xerxes playing striker versus how many shots would we have had with Rashford up top? How many did we have with Rashford up top today?
Well, he wasn't up top. He played on the left wing, didn't he? Because he came on for. I know he came on for Xerxes, but they switched around. He came on and he was rubbish. No. He was invisible all game. I hear you. I understand it. He wasn't that great today. And I'm just saying, in terms of the lineup, there are questions because we didn't win. What other options do we have to make those changes? There's a couple, not many, but there's a couple. But because we didn't win, there are questions being asked. I felt that we could have done a bit better.
Multiple opportunities were created because Joshua Xerxes was pulling central defenders out of position. And you cannot ignore that. Absolutely.
No one's ignoring that. No one's ignoring that at all.
The first opportunity that we had was Alejandro Garnacho. Well, you want to talk about Ten Hag putting out the right starting 11. This absolutely is relevant information. He's dropping in, pulling a center back out of position. Alejandro Garnacho gets in, not once, but twice, because of the way that Joshua Xerxes is moving. And we did not have that same level of threat after Xerxes was subbed off. So you cannot tell me that Xerxes should have started on the bench. There's absolutely no founding
he created
reason
chances,
why
and
you can
no
say
one's saying that he
that is
didn't.
relevant.
No one's saying that he didn't have a good game. I completely agree with you. He created those chances. But there are other chances in the game that weren't anything to do with Xerxes dropping deep. There are other chances in the game created by other players from out wide, or we had corners or set pieces.
Sure.
Again, which Xerxes isn't being effective in corners or set pieces like we talked about earlier. That Marcus Rashford isn't either, let's be honest. I mean, he's more of the ball at his feet. I'm just saying, out of all the chances that are created,
you're making my point for me.
I am, but I'm about to land. So all the chances that were created by Xerxes or in the game by general, Xerxes probably created about 3 or 4 of them. So there might have been another 10 chances in the game created without Xerxes being involved. And I just feel like Rashford could have had an outlet or an option. Like, he's on fire. I'd say on fire. He's got 3 goals in 2 games. Xerxes got 1 goal in 5 games or something. Again, this is the argument. This is the for or against. Let us know what you guys think down below. Again, just because we didn't get the win, I think Ten Hag's decision is questionable, at the very least. Other than that, I don't know where you stand. But yeah.
No, I mean for sure. This was the 11 that we needed to start with, and Xerxes is a core component of that, and I think that we saw it, even after obviously Rashford came in for Xerxes, but then we had to rotate Rasmus Højlund in. We pulled Amad Diallo, and Garnacho switched, and Rashford had to get out of the space that Xerxes had been previously occupying for Rasmus Højlund. And so if you want to talk about like for like, obviously Xerxes is the better option because he was getting more players involved. There were more opportunities. Whenever, it was only, granted, like 6 minutes that Rashford was up top. But in those 6 minutes, we had absolutely no bite to our offense. There was no getting in behind. There was nothing to generate those opportunities. And so if you really want to talk about picking the best starting 11, you can't pick Rasmus Højlund because he's still coming off of injury. The only other option is Joshua Xerxes, and there were direct opportunities created from Joshua Xerxes being on the ball, being involved, and you just didn't get that with Marcus Rashford. So absolutely he picked the best starting 11, and we should have had goals. We were good for goals today. Absolutely, we were good for goals today.
Yeah, I think my main, again, we might be going slightly off topic here on this one, but Xerxes playing like a midfielder. And it's kind of like you can't just say no and how do you give my argument? No, he is. He's dropping deep like a number 10.
I can tell you that he's not.
And he's creating chances for others, which is fine. But he's not. He's supposed to be a striker. He's supposed to be taking some of the chances as well, which we've not really seen a lot of. We've seen him get 1 chance and he scored, which is great. But like he's not really taking these chances. He's creating more than he's making. You
can say that he has to score as much as you want, but at the end of the day, a striker's worth is measured not only by the goals that he scores, but by the opportunities that he is creating for other players. And that is really where Joshua Xerxes is leaps and bounds ahead of Rasmus Højlund.
I agree with you, but that's not the role that he's playing.
Giving him opportunity.
We're comparing him with a striking role.
No. We have been playing a false 9, and you have agreed that a false 9 at times is very beneficial and it's great for the team. And yes, I think that there is that good opportunity for that, and Joshua Xerxes fits that role while still being that striker. He just needs to be a little bit more clinical. But the opportunities that are presented to other players by the movement that he creates and the space, the very first opportunity that Garnacho had, Rasmus Højlund would not have created. Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount would not have created. He drops in, pulls that right center back out of place. Alejandro Garnacho gets in behind. He has a great opportunity. He should score. He didn't. unfortunate, but that is what we brought him in for. That was the perfect opportunity, the perfect indication of what we can be with Joshua Zirkzee on the pitch. And so to say that, oh, well, he didn't make our team better, I think is absolutely like out of pocket. He 100% has been making our team better.
No one's saying that he's not. I agree with you, but he's not creating goals. He's not an actual goal. I know he's creating. Again, we need to move on. Let us know what you guys think down below. But look, he's creating chances, but he's not getting any of the goals. Marcus Rashford has got more goals and chances created in the last few games than Zirkzee has all season so far. Again, this is supposed to be emphasised on Erik ten Hag.
Rashford, no, absolutely not.
Well, he's got 3 goals in 2 games at least.
Rashford has not created or been involved in more chances than Zirkzee has created or been involved in. I will stand by that.
That will take me a good 10 minutes to develop
and you want to talk about against Barnsley? You want to talk about quality of chances? Again, I would rather Zirkzee create 10 chances against top 5 to 10 opposition versus playing against a tier 1, right? Like a tier 1 opposition.
I think
3
you've
goals,
taken my
2 goals,
opinion.
1 assist. I don't care.
I think you've got the wrong end of the stick of something I've said. I was basically trying to compare. David De Gea is a shot stopper, but Onana's more of a foot with his feet. He's better with his feet, right? He's obviously shown that he's got some great saves today, but there's different characteristics in the same position, right? David De Gea, shot stopper, feet with Onana. Now, Zirkzee and Rashford are potentially playing the same position up front, but they've got different characteristics, right? Zirkzee drops deep and creates. Rashford likes to run on behind and try and take that. And I'm just saying, I think, again, we could have had a bit more of the other. But hey, we've literally been talking about this.
How well did that work for Marcus Rashford last season?
Well, and you could say that about anyone for us last season, honestly. So, I mean, it is what it is. Let us know what you guys think down below. I will give you this one, buddy. But honestly, it's I hope you understood some of the things that I was trying to talk about anyway. But okay, so moving on to
for sure
for or against number 2, buddy. Ugarte should have started. So I think. You go ahead and tell me why Ugarte should have started. Now, we've just done, obviously, the lineups should have been right, and but Ugarte is a more centralised kind of position, more character rather than the lineup. So, would Ugarte's performance starting made any difference?
Yeah, I mean, this is a hard one to argue after I just made the
after you argued for 10 minutes over that one, absolutely. But go ahead.
But I think that Ugarte offers something different in terms of the opportunities for Manchester United, and it's not so much on the offensive front. I think there are other players that can kind of facilitate that. Yes, Christian Eriksen was very much an integral part today of our offense, but I don't think that's something that he has an absolute lock in on. I think that Ugarte being able to break up the attack opportunities for Crystal Palace, I think that we can transition quicker with somebody like Ugarte being in there, and the Crystal Palace kind of had success going through the middle a little bit today, and having somebody like Ugarte instead of Christian Eriksen in there is going to offer the opportunity to intercept quickly and transition, and so. Yes, Eriksen was very good, but Ugarte offers something different, and there are other players who can offer that same level of attacking prowess that Christian Eriksen offers, but there is nobody else in our squad that has the same levels of defensive prowess that Ugarte has. So I'd love to hear you say different.
Yeah, okay, so I'm for Ugarte I'm against Ugarte should have started. So, I just want to back Ten Hag So I said at the start, Ten Hag made the brave decision to rotate the players around. He's actually got a squad big enough to be able to actually rotate. He's gone through a lot of stuff, and I've always been back in Ten Hag in, because I've seen some of the... I like the consistency. I like him as a person. He's a role model to the young players coming through. He can be stern and ruthless and strict when need to be. He can crack a joke when needs to as well. So I think this is all about Ten Hag and back in Ten Hag. And Ugarte was the last of our signings. And if you notice that we've been bleeding De Ligt in, and Mazraoui, I think, has started every game apart from the Barnsley one. I think he might have even started, but I can't remember now. But other than Mazraoui, Xerxes and Ugarte and De Ligt and others are coming in sparingly. So I think throwing Ugarte in, starting against Liverpool would have been real. I don't think he was allowed to play anyway, but that would have been throwing him in at the deep end, and he might have got a red card and an injury or something. He hasn't been playing a lot for PSG either, so building him into the speed of the Premier League, I think, is very important. So I don't think Ugarte should have started. Going back to my point, back Ten Hag's decision. Ten Hag is training them on a daily basis. He sees the ins and outs. He knows when people are going to be ready to start games for Manchester United and Premier League. So in Ten Hag, I trust. If he doesn't think he's ready to start yet, I believe him. He's around the squad each and every day. So yeah, it just makes me excited for when he is ready to start. Because again, we've got squad depth in defence at the moment. Now we've got squad depth in the midfield, so we can start rotating Kobe out every other game. We can rotate Casemiro and Eriksen out every other game. We can't start everyone all the time. It's a squad game. So again, if Ten Hag thinks that Ugarte's not ready to start yet, he's not ready to start yet. Who are we to argue?
I think that we created plenty of opportunities though without Christian Eriksen, and so just having Ugarte to shut down the few opportunities that Crystal Palace had, because let's make no mistake, this very much could have been a loss for us. And I think that we were fortunate not to concede given some of the opportunities that they had. Yes, we were on the front foot, and Christian Eriksen is very good on the front foot whenever we're playing, and we need some vision and that ball playing opportunity, but it still doesn't hurt to have that bit of defensive prowess. And so you talk about Crystal Palace had 2, maybe 3 opportunities. We could have shut those out entirely. So it's almost the difference between a guaranteed tie versus maybe you have the opportunity for a win that you didn't necessarily have to have somebody to be in the starting 11 to get that win. I think we could have won without Christian Eriksen. Yes, he had very good moments, very, very positive play from him. And it was good watching him play. I think he had a lot of very good moments. But, the few opportunities that Crystal Palace was presented with could have been entirely snuffed out by Ugarte. And at that point, it's just like, okay, we were already in for the draw. So, at that point, what damage is being done, I think that we still would have had opportunities outside of Christian Eriksen if we would have started Ugarte. So, to me, Christian Eriksen was not a necessity. Ugarte could have started, and he probably should have started just to get a little bit of those Premier League minutes.
Yeah, I think you're focused on Eriksen quite a bit, and it's understandable. But I mean, the midfield.
Well, who's he replacing?
Well, Kobe Mainoo.
Yeah,
you could give Kobe Mainoo a rest.
No.
Well, okay.
No,
Kobe Mainoo hasn't been amazing for the last 2 or 3 games, right? So just, devil's advocate here, he could have decided, well, Eriksen's in form, Ugarte needs fitness, Kobe does need a rest because we've played him every game for the last 8 months. It's not out of the world of possibility that he could taken off Kobe, rested Kobe for a half or two, and put on Ugarte and Eriksen. I mean, I don't think we have a single mainstay in our midfield. I think no one. I think they're all rotatable, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I don't think anyone is a fixed position. But, now the only thing here that you're not only going against me on this one, you're going against Ten Hag. So if you think you know better than Ten Hag, then fair play. However, I don't think you know better than Ten Hag, and therefore I think I should win on the against, because he knows better than both of us.
I mean, if anything, I would call that a draw, because does Ugarte improve the team? I think yes, he does. Do we need Christian Eriksen in that role? No, I don't think that we necessarily do.
We didn't concede any goals, so he's not going to help us out defensively. You can't do any better than keep a clean sheet, right? So Ugarte's not going to help out defensively in this match. We needed goals.
You can keep a clean sheet out of luck, or you can keep it out of prowess. And I think we kept it out of luck today.
I don't know. I think Onana actually had a bit of prowess today.
Well, that's one thing to say, which would go against everything that you talked about up to this point.
No. One performance.
If you really want to have that conversation, we can go back a couple episodes or two, and we can fix the results.
It's a clean slate each week,
because
that's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure, Saf.
No one forced you to write the apology about Eriksen. It's fine. It's okay. All right, I'll take a draw. I'm happy with a draw, because Sporadiclese seems fixed on everything today. So draw. Let's go with that. Third and final question for for or against. Is Xerxes is key to United's success? Now, I know we talked a bunch about Xerxes, but I'm going to go against on this one. Xerxes isn't our key to success. He's a great player and he started off well, but our success lies in all areas of the pitch, not just like honed in on one. And like I said earlier on, Xerxes is good. He's promising. He's creating space for other players. He's laying people on, but he's not actively helping us get any goals. Yes, some people aren't taking their chances, but I want my striker to be striking the ball and getting goals, to be an attacking player to help win us the game. Whether Rashford is on form or not, it's my characteristics in that position that I want to see. We mentioned about Xerxes earlier on. He looks good, but I want to see some tenacity out of him. I want to see a little bit of vengeance, almost, a little bit of anger to fully focus on the priority of scoring us goals or create. Again, I'm happy that he's laying stuff on, and yes, Garnacho and others should have done better, but I think there are other keys to our success this season in particular. Diallo is such a key to our success. Generally, when he plays well, we end up playing well as a team. He played okay today, didn't play amazing, so we didn't get an amazing result. Again, when Garnacho turns, he can just turn it on like that whenever he likes. We've seen Eriksen had a 10 out of 10 performance. Yes, it's against Barnsley, but he's putting in the minutes at the moment. Lisandro Martinez, now he's been back in our team, is just such a rock steady centerpiece to our defense. And then we've got De Ligt next to him now, who's the general, the antagonist. There's so many areas on the pitch where we are excelling in this season alone. And Xerxes is definitely a part of that. But is he the key that unlocks everything? I don't think so. I would love for that to be the case, but I haven't seen that in him yet. Yes, he's unlocked a couple of passes, as we mentioned, but him as a central figure, solo key, like star player for Manchester United, I want that to be the case. He's got the potential for that to be the case, but that isn't the case right here, right now.
I mean, I really have to disagree with you here.
I know you do. You love Xerxes.
I mean, I do love Xerxes. And there's a reason that I love Xerxes. It's because he complements the play style of everybody else in the system. So he's not actively looking for goals. He has had opportunities where he has been able to score goals, and he unfortunately has not. But if you look at the number of opportunities that we have created as a team with Joshua Xerxes on the pitch versus what we have what we have put forward without him on the pitch, it's night and day difference. If he scores 3 goals, I love that. If we score 6 goals as a team because of the way that he facilitates our play and he doesn't score any goals, I would rather have the 6 goals that we scored as a team than the 3 goals that we did because he scored them and didn't facilitate the play. And that is exactly what we saw today. We had any number of opportunities that should have been capitalized on as a direct result of the moves that he was making, the space that he's occupying, the way that he's pulling defenders out of position. To me, there's just no way that you can say that he's not had a positive impact on the style of play that we have as a team. He is just such a space hunter. It's like, what would you imagine, prime Bayern Munich as without a Thomas Muller? Thomas Muller was the space hunter, right? He was the person that's getting into the right places at the right times, pulling the right people out of the places that they needed to be in. And that's exactly what we're getting with Joshua Zirkzee. And so to say that we're better off scoring 3 goals because he's getting in there and scoring them directly versus he's opening us up to scoring 6, 8, 10 goals, I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. I want to have the opportunity to score more goals. And the bottom line is we have better chances. We have better opportunities. We just didn't quite finish them today. But we wouldn't have those without Joshua Zirkzee. And whenever you saw him get subbed off for Marcus Rashford, you saw our defense go limp. And that is exactly why I think that you should realize that we need to have him. And even then, whenever we brought on Rasmus Højlund, we subbed off Amad Diallo, switched Garnacho to the right, and had Rashford on the left. Our offense, again, looked limp. It did not look the same as whenever you have Joshua Zirkzee in it. So if you want to talk about, okay, well, I could play Joshua Zirkzee and, Rasmus Højlund in, that would be great. I would love that. I would love to have, a little bit of dynamism in terms of the formation that we can play. I want to see them play at the same time. But if you're going to have to pick one or the other, then you're going to get more opportunities playing Joshua Zirkzee than you are Rasmus Højlund, Marcus Rashford, anybody else up top, period. And I want more chances. I want more opportunities. I want to see us attacking the ball, us attacking the goal. And that only worked out today because of Joshua Zirkzee. And I look forward to seeing him do it again next week and the weekend after and every subsequent weekend of this entire season because he is that good.
But you can't. It's harsh to compare the same game of football. So you're saying Zirkzee in the first hour or so creates space and that, but honestly, in the final half an hour against Palace, they sat further and further back trying to protect their win, and they were counter-attacking for sure, but there was a lot less space in the Palace half the later the game went on. So yeah, we brought on Højlund and Rashford, but we had Martinez doing 2-footed tackles on the edge of the Palace box. We had people like De Ligt running. There wasn't enough space for anyone to be effective. So I think it's a bit harsh to compare those two instances. 2 different times of the match, 2 different scenarios are going on. But look, I agree. It's great that he's creating chances, but that just because you're creating chances in an offensive area doesn't make you a star player. And that's what I read from the question. Zirkzee is key to United's success. And I don't see him. That's what a star player is. Like, Bruno's a star player. Garnacho is a star player. When he's on form, Rashford is our star player. Other than that, we don't really have many star players yet because they're all a new group. I just don't think Zirkzee is that star player yet. He's got star potential, star qualities. Yeah, he's a great team player. But again, without that tenacity of getting goals and showing that hunger, I don't think he's going to be that star player unless he starts showing that. But he's definitely not our star player now. We could win games with Zirkzee not being on the pitch as well. He's not the be-all or end-all yet. I want him to be, but he's not yet. Again, it's a positive start. We'll see at the end of the season how he blossoms. But to me, right now, he's not that key yet, and he's not our star player yet. Everyone in the squad has got some time to prove their worth. We'll see at the end of the season.
I mean, he's not the be all or end all, but we look a better team whenever he's on the pitch versus whenever he's not. And it's I see it as very difficult to argue against that. You put Rashford up top, it's not the same. He's trying to do all of the same things that the wingers are trying to do. Xerxes is trying to engage the wingers better and get them more opportunities to be able to score goals. And again, it's a matter of quantity and quality of opportunities, and you're getting better quality and quantity of opportunities under Joshua Xerxes than you are under a Marcus Rashford. So I just don't see how you can say that Xerxes is not improving our squad as a whole to a tremendous degree. Honestly,
that's not the question, though, Sporadiclese. That's not the question. I know he's improving the squad. I know he's improving the team. But that's not the question.
Well, if he's improving the squad and the team, then how can you say that he's not key to our success? If he's making the team better, then how can he not be key in us performing?
Mazraoui is making our team better, but he's not a key to success. It's an improvement. It's an improvement to what we've seen for the last 12 months, but it's not. He's not the key. Maybe you'll turn into the key. But again.
So who is the key then? Who?
Well, like I mentioned, Rashford, Garnacho, Bruno Fernandes, they are the keys that unlock goals for us at the moment.
No.
What do you mean? You can't just say no. That's my opinion. That's what I think. That's what I think. Like they are the keys to our success.
Your opinion is not great.
I know, but that's fine.
I do not believe that at all. Because
look, Xerxes been with us for 6 weeks. Sporadically, 6 weeks, and yes, he's improved us, but we're not winning games with him in the team. We're not losing them either. But I mean, it's an improvement. He's not there yet. Going back to Xerxes'
key. We played without him last season. Literally every single one. Where did we finish?
Well, we just beat Barnsley 7-0.
How many opportunities did we create? Barnsley 7-0.
It's the recent evidence I've got. I'm going to go with it. Yeah,
I love
7-0s better than 0-0s.
I would love to continue to trash Tier 1 teams, but you know what? The reality that we live in is that we're in the Premier League. We're not in Tier 1. We have to play against Tier 1 teams, and the way that we are going to do that is to be able to facilitate the play from our wingers through our striker, which we have not seen up to this point. Yes, we have had luck and success playing a false nine with like Bruno Fernandes against Manchester City. You cannot do that week in, week out. You are not going to score goals week in, week out playing that style of false nine. Joshua Xerxes is a natural false nine almost. And so he has the ability on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball to make an impact. And we've seen that even today. We had so many opportunities today just by the movement. Like it's those things that you don't see in the statistics that really make the difference with Joshua Xerxes and his ability to unlock our offense. And so, yes, you're not going to see the passes. You're not going to see the assists. You didn't see the goals. But what you don't see is the big chances created off the back of his hard work, his poaching space, his ability to be in the right positions at the right time, his ability to cover for the wingers whenever they're out of position because they've been attacking and he dropped into defense or into the midfield and now understands that he needs to go and play on the defense. He is 100% a game changer for us, and I don't understand how you can argue any different.
Before Sporadiclese burst the blood vessel, we're going to have to wrap things up because we've gone on for much longer than the way it was. But no one's disagreeing with Sporadiclese. I'm just saying that he's not that person yet. He's not our star player yet. He's not that go-to, goal-hungry predator yet. Like he's all that potential to be this person. And you can't just walk into Manchester United and be a star player. You have to earn it. You have to be given that title by fans over a period of time. And 6 weeks, the amount of time that he's been with us, isn't long enough to be called a star player yet. You have to earn that privilege and earn that role. And yeah, that could come in time. But it's not 6 weeks into your Manchester United history. Zlatan is probably the only person that could walk into our team and be a star player. Because he's Zlatan. That's what Zlatan does. And that Zlatan song, again, is just an amazing song. It was on the Hot Ones this
Zlatan
week.
doing Zlatan things.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so, look, that's the bar for star players in stardom, right? Of walking into a team and taking over and control. Xerxes got the potential, but he's just not there yet. And so that's it. I agree with everything else Sporadiclese says. I just don't think he's at that point yet. And you can't call someone a player 6 weeks into their signing. Like, you have to give them a season or two and then say, yeah, they're a star player. Rooney, as good as he was at 16, when he came into the team, like, he wasn't really a star player until he's 18. And this is Rooney we're talking about. So if we're at that level for Rooney, we have to give Xerxes and everyone else that amount of time as well, and then we adjust on those. So yeah, I'm taking this one, Sporadiclese. I'm taking this one. It is
absolutely not. No,
it is against
10 out of 10. Xerxes is going to prove you wrong this whole
and he could
season.
Be, but as of right now, at the moment of this question, I think I've got it. We need time to answer this question comprehensively.
Do we finish better than 8th with Xerxes as our main striker?
Mate,
and I think
that was the worst. That was the worst season we've ever had in the Premier League. Of course, I'd expect us to do better with him in, because if we do much worse, that's creating history in itself. But yeah, look, we have to do better. But again, that answer takes time as well. We'll see at the end of the season whether having Xerxes in. I mean, look, we're 7th at the moment, aren't we?
Man, I can't believe that you're against this.
Well, I'm against this because I have to be.
I so disagree with
this.
This
is
statement.
for or against, so I kind of have to be against. So
we already look a different team only 6 games in, just having him play up top.
Yes,
and
but you can't put the responsibility of a
say
star player on someone who's just got to Manchester. It needs to be earned.
Someone that's just creating all of this positive
for 3 games.
Offense.
For 3 games. Anyway, we could go on to We're Blue in the Face. Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Am I right? Am I wrong? Is Sporadiclese right? Is he wrong? Let's
we're gonna go blue in the face once we're done.
I know. So stop. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit the follow, like, and subscribe. And we are new around here, so why don't you share the video to some of your friends or a couple of Discord groups or Facebook groups? Share us about. Say, look, there's a new Manchester United fan channel up in town, and they're looking to take over. If we don't kill each other before Christmas. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching. I've been the Saffron Man. He's been Sporadiclese. And we'll catch you guys. You see me on Tuesday and you see Sporadiclese on Friday. But we'll catch you next time. Till then, peace.